And we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you all come in, I'll offer a virtual toast. I don't have any more solo cups, so I'm sipping out of a, I don't even know what the styrofoam cup. Cheers, y'all. You already know I got my Cabernet. So while you enter the room, on Facebook land, Twitter town, or YouTube Ville, wherever you're coming from, I want you to check in with me. I ask y'all all the time, but let me know, how has your week been? Have you had a good day? Like, was it a good day for you? I really, really want to know. So that's how I can see who's like in the room and who's not, because I can't even find my phone, not even gonna look for it. But let me know, how's your day been? To be honest, this week has been a bitch. Okay. I always say that every day is not going to be rainbows, sunflowers, or glitter on your journey to peace. But because I surround myself like in love and positive energy, I knew I'd get out of the funk I was in. But trust me, it was not a walk in the park. I really struggled to get out of bed. I struggled to find something nice to say, and I found myself just wanting to pop off on anything at any given moment. It was really a miserable place for me, and I just had to find my way through back to a balance and in my clarity of feelings. Now, I know I normally ask y'all how y'all doing, but this week I have even more of a reason. A good friend of mine posted on LinkedIn, yes, LinkedIn, and she shared a post about responses to the question, how are you? I remember my time at a local bank a few years ago. We were trained to not give answers like good, I'm good, or I'm okay, or I'm fine. Instead, we were to perk it up and say things like, I'm doing great, I'm doing wonderful, or my Southern Belle favorite, I'm just delightful. Well, that conditioning to simply give a reason is something that has many layers, right? So it made me question, is this exactly how I feel? And am I expressing that feeling? In the post, the author gave reasons such as people may be embarrassed to share how they really feel, or we fear naming that thing because it will make it real, or we feel overwhelmed by the thought that if I acknowledge it, then I got to do something about it. The one that really hit me was the one that said, in the pursuit of now what, people prematurely move into solutioning without fully understanding and processing their feelings. And what I've realized is that my determination to remain solution focused was not allowing space to simply slow down. As an emotionally sensitive and quote unquote aware person, I'm glad that I had a reminder to really sort through my feelings and acknowledge their presence as a disruption, right? So I was hurt, I was sad, I was angry, confused, and I ain't like that. So I sat down and asked myself out loud, how are you? Spoke those things out, figure out the source, work to find a solution, and just let some stuff go. So I encourage you all to routinely ask yourself, how am I feeling? And I want you to be as honest as possible. How are you is something that we just blurt out. Like we walking by somebody, we don't even care how the person is feeling. We be like, hey, how you doing? And not even wait for an answer. But you never know whose life you could touch with truly asking, how are you? And listening. It really could be your own life. Whew. So that's enough for my soapbox, y'all. I came here for a show because I have a really, really, really special guest. And I know that I need to find my phone because I don't know if everything is happening. So tonight, we're going to talk about a lot. Somehow, I always find myself being the Lynn or the Blanche of my friend groups. And that's because I'm very sex positive, right? So tonight I wanted to dispel some myths and normalize the conversation about sex. So yes, that's right. The name of tonight's episode is Don't Box Me In, because I talk so freely about knocking the boots. I'm typically put in the whole box. And with me being pansexual, there's another 15 to 20 boxes that folks will place you in. And for me, my box is the only one that matters. And technically, I don't even have a box, but I want you all to sit back and enjoy this episode. And because I wanted to talk about such a hush hush topic, I thought I'd bring in one of my favorites from social media. So I told y'all tonight we're going to go there. We're going to talk about some things that you may be uncomfortable with. But I want you to know the Southern Gin is all about discomfort, because discomfort goes into growth. Okay, how can you grow without being uncomfortable? So tonight I have none other than the Roman Blck.
Howdy.
Roman, how are you, darling? I want to know, how are you?
So first I want to say thank you for opening up with that story and with that vulnerability. You know what, you are very, very, very correct when it comes to the conditioning that we have. I think just us as people of color, we are often conditioned to answer that question with I'm doing well, I'm doing great, I'm doing fabulous, right? And I'm going to continue to follow in your footsteps. And this week has been hard for me. This has been a week that's been up and down. I'm on the other side of a depressive episode, so I'm feeling great, depressive wise. It's starting to be shinier. I'm up here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so the sun is starting to come out a little bit more. But also with that same aspect, like my tooth hurts, so I'm a lot the last couple of days. So I'm doing well. I'm doing all right. I'm on the other side of a depressive episode. I'm ready to talk about. No, I'm ready to talk about sex. And before we get into it, I do want to make a full disclaimer to anybody that might be watching this. This is not THC. You will see me be smoking this. It's nicotine. So just throwing that out there, y'all. I love my nicotine. I can't not smoke my nicotine. So that it is what it is.
It is what it is. And just as I told Rowan, the Southern is a place of comfort and doing things that you enjoy. So it's me trying to meticulously calculate. I love people to be who they are. That as well. But I want to thank you a million times for joining me. As you know, for both of us, it's been a tumultuous week, and the production process hasn't been particularly my normal standard. So I appreciate you for your flexibility and your concern for what was happening.
Absolutely.
So would you ever be so kind to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So hello to everyone watching this. My name is Roman Blck, or as my name suggests, it's Mixed Black. I am a non-binary, queer, full-service sex worker. I am an individual living with HIV. I'm an individual that struggles to access care for my own mental health. I'm an Aquarius. So for the most part, I love life. I've lived all over this nation. Last year, right before COVID, I was princess backpacking. So I was getting on a Southwest flight every week, every other week, and just going to a new city. I've been doing full service sex work full time for about 2 years. I also consult on sexual health toolkits and, advocate for people of color living with and living adjacent to addiction and mental health opportunities. So there's a lot to me. There's a lot of boxes. Actually, I don't believe in boxes. So Eddie, you know me, like I am the kind of person, like, if you tell me that I'm in this box, or you tell me that this is the box that I need to be in, I'm like, what do you mean? I don't like boxes. Can I be in a pyramid?
Okay, like give me something else. Like
exactly, like the boxes are just they're gross. Like give me a unicorn to sit in. Like give me a Trojan horse, but box, no.
And I like to go rogue. So I wanted to bring you on the show because a couple of years ago, like we mentioned in the pre-production call, I saw you from across the conference center. And if I'm not mistaken, it was the harness in the heels for me with a confidence. And unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to connect, but I know from I think we were going into like the end of the first day where they had like the beautiful like displays of everything. I hollered, yes, fine, honey.
Absolutely.
So one of my beliefs is that we are uniquely designed and carefully created in whatever narrative we want to have. So have you always been comfortable with yourself?
No. I think that's a misconception that I put off this aura or this energy that I'm confident in my own skin. And while part of that is true, I think a better way to explain that just for me is I'm more confident in my downfalls. I'm more confident in my opportunities. I'm more confident in my flaws, right? I've always been confident in the things that I can't do well, if that makes sense. I've understood and I've appreciated my downfalls, and that in turn has made it so that it makes it look like I'm confident in my skin. If that makes sense and that answers your question. So to answer your question, no, I haven't always been confident in my skin, but I've always been confident in doing the things that I can't do well. Like, I'm just going to do the things that I know I can't do. I'm going to continue to just go after my flaws. And that in turn just reads like I'm confident in my own skin. But really, I'm just confident in my opportunities.
And that is so instrumental for people to know, because one thing that I will say that I have not done the best job of is talking about the process, right? So although I'm at this place of comfort, this place, not even comfort, this place of confidence and like all these other places, I didn't talk about the process of, you really I worked through those same things. I did not like that about myself. So I learned how to groove with it. And it took some time. It wasn't, I just woke up and was like, hey, Eddie, you're beautiful. It was not that, but it took it. But I believe in that. So we do have a question from Rod. Can we get the specifics on exactly what non-binary is?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So non-binary is going to be different for everybody. So I am not, cannot, and will not be a spokesperson for the entire term, right? For myself, non-binary is essentially combining masculine and feminine energy. I do not identify as neither extreme. I identify as sort of a mixture of both, right? So I often with fashion where I will wear heels and I will wear dress pants. But then I also, I play with makeup and I play with this energy of I have effeminate qualities to me. Like I talk with my hands a lot. And I'm wearing lipstick, but I also am wearing, this Andrew Christian tank top. And my arms look bulging. So I play with this, not just play, I capture this energy of I'm not any one of the binary avenues. And so non-binary specifically relates to it's masculine and feminine are the two binaries, right? We're told to identify with. It's either male or female. And for me, non-binary is a combination of both of those. I have individuals that are neither of them. They use their pronouns such as they and them. Myself, I use pronouns she, he, his, her. So I use, again, pronouns from both of the binaries. And so that's the best way I can explain non-binary.
I think that is the perfect example, because you said that exactly what it is. It depends on who the person is. And so I very similarly to you, I think I'm on that non-binary show because I accept any pronouns. Like that's one thing that does not define me, because I do play with nails. Like if you see my shoot, I had like the turquoise nails.
Yes, ma'am.
But I wear a wig, like if I feel like it, whatever it is. Those things to me are like something that we have to name for other people.
Yeah.
So because that is a definition that other people want when they see us, it's like, okay, well, That's for you more so than it is for me.
Didn't-
There a defining moment that you really came into that place of I want to accept who I am wholly?
Oh, that is a loaded question. Wow. Honestly, I would say that my defining moment was when I quit my career in retail. So April 2019, I officially stopped working retail. And I left it completely 100%. And I went to work for myself. And originally, I was gonna go into it with the mentality that I was gonna go and be a full-time advocate. I wanted to speak on all the stages, all the world stages as this like HIV advocate. And I was gonna do escorting on the side and not really talk about it. And then within that month, it was like, wait, I really love what I do. I really love being an escort. And I did, and I do love being an escort. So I would say like my defining moment was me quitting the job and me really coming into it and not doing escorting as terms of survival, but doing escorting because I loved it. Being able to talk to clients and say, hey, my dollar value, my time is worth X amount of dollars, right? And if you're going to say anything less, well, then that's not worth my time. I'm not getting out of bed. Like that's text vested. You ain't getting my time. And for me, that was the defining moment, was being able to really set my foot down and own that space of saying, this is me. Like you can either take it or leave it. Because like people, not all escorts are built the same. Not all sex workers are built the same. And for me, being able to really just stand in that space of this is what I'm bringing in terms of being an escort. I'm bringing a service, and being able to define that service was really that moment for me of this is who I am as a sex worker. This is who I am as an individual.
Yeah. So one of the things that I always think about is my why. So I had a defining moment of really becoming who I am, and it was not gonna say unfortunately, because to me, love is another just piece of life. And so there are so many aspects of life that can change, like our course and where we are, where we think we need to go. And mine was a derailed love in my love story that really made me realize who I was, because I was very codependent, and it was really so much more so about who this person was and what they wanted me to be. And then I was working in the field, and being Black, queer, and a cisgender male is difficult in a space that, and when I came around, like it was so by the book. Like you had to be this, you had to be A, B, and Z. You had to have a degree. You had to do this. And it was too much. And so for me, there was too much pressure. And so I did everything that they said that I should do. And it was like, well, you're still not welcoming me to the table in a equitable manner. So I have the degrees, I have the resume, I have the portfolio, everything that you said that I should have, but you still doing. So that was my defining moment of love in that sense of like, because my biggest love is working beyond like romantic love.
No, absolutely. And I feel that 100%. Like as you talk about, resumes and having this portfolio, I was doing a lot of advocacy work, sans like having worked in the industry, right? I was doing a lot of my own personal projects. Most like, that phrase, I want to be the voice for the voiceless.
Yes.
So I was doing a lot of that work. I was being, this voice for the communities that I was sitting within and the intersection of communities that I was sitting within. Because I wasn't getting a seat at the table, because I was like, I don't want to go to school because, I'm not going to have the resume you have. But over the years now that I've been doing this work on my own, I've had organizations reach out and they're like, how are you doing this work? And I'm like, so I'm doing this work by doing this. They're like, can I hire you? I'm like, no, you can't. No, I'm sorry. I'll take your money, but no
Okay.
one for you.
This is, well, whatever. This is the so my goal is to, the narrative is to always get somebody hired. And so my thing is, can you contract with me and partner with me beyond me being your employee?
Yep.
And how can you fund me in what
Yep.
I'm doing? Because what I'm doing is reaching other people. And
boom. Because we're already out here doing the work.
We're out here
doing the work without your respectability politics, right? We're already out here doing the work without that necessary need for respectability. And I'm the first bitch who's like, screw your respectability. I'm out here like, I don't want your respectability. I don't need your respectability because I'm out here doing the work.
And that's what matters. Now, this is the reason that it is so important for HIV service providers to tailor their messages to who is in front of them, with them, beside them, or with. For far too long, we provided sort of like a cookie cutter mode when it comes to HIV prevention, care, and treatment. So during our chat this week, you mentioned health toolkits. We know that it's a popular method to prevent HIV transmission. Let's talk about that. So what can others do differently when they're providing toolkits?
Yeah. So first I have to talk about the question you just asked, right? So nobody should be providing toolkits, period. Like I just want to throw that out there. So when you say when you say the line providing toolkits, it lends to this mode of I'm going to give you the things you need, and these are the only things you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My philosophy is I want to give you as many things that I know about, and I want you to be able to pick and choose the things that you're going to put into your own toolkit. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm like Home Depot. I'm going to have all the tools in my store, and it's your job to pick and choose which tools you need for that project.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is how a lot of HIV organizations should really go about it, right? They can't, again, just give a condom kit to somebody and say, hey, here's your condom kit. But if you go to an individual and you're like, hey, we have condoms, we have contraceptive, we have non-penetrative practices, we have some mental health, all of those tools allow an individual to pick which one is going to be best used for them. Because sexual health toolkit is not just penetrative, which, or should not just be penetrative.
Right.
When we think about sexual health toolkits now, oftentimes the things that we have in them or the normalized things that are in our toolkits lend to penetrative practices, such as condoms, PrEP, PEP. All of those lead to the idea of penetration. But we never talk about non-penetrative, for individuals that have been raped, for individuals that might not enjoy penetration, for anybody that wants something that's different than their normalized penetration or intercourse, as you might put it. For like myself, my toolkit includes testing every 3 months, so a full panel every 3 months. It also includes non-penetrative practices with clients. So things like kink play. I do a lot of impact play, pup play, water sports. Those things are all non-penetrative. And then remaining virally suppressed. So that's what's in my toolkit. For yourself, I can't speak on what's in your toolkit. All I can do is provide you the options. All I can do is say, hey, here's some tools that's in my store, and go ahead and pick and choose which one you want.
Whatever it is. It's definitely a place of what, and I definitely get that, like that, why the provision of things. And so there shouldn't be something like a package that we put together. We should allow for the package to be put together by the person. We are there as the resource to what's needed. And so as an entity, we should be able to provide either if it's something that we have in-house or somewhere that we can go get from somebody else. So
Yeah.
I definitely.
Yeah. And no, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you're a resource, right? And so because it's a resource, one, why are you doing the extra work to make these things as a resource, right? This resource could better be used by just gathering information. You don't go to the library and the library is not going to just say, hey, here's your stack of books. No, the library is like, well, we're a resource for books, and come to us if you need help. Come to us to use our resource. And I think that's where a lot of organizations start to falter, because they want so badly to help their communities. So they just put together the resources that they think people need.
Exactly.
Also, at the end of the day, if you're a resource, be a resource. Be a resource for information. Be a resource to be open to have this information, to have testing. But if you tell somebody how they need to get tested, I mean, that's not a resource. That's sorry, that's not a resource. That's a job. That's
an assessment. You've done an assessment on a person.
Exactly.
Because one thing that I have been excited, or not so excited, like people were so devastated when a lot of the evidence-based interventions were defunded. And these were things that we put together for people. You know, we were listening, but sometimes in the field, there are always the same folks that you're listening to.
Yep.
So that ain't always helpful, okay? So in the sense, we have stopped packaging things for folks, and we got plenty of ways to go, but the progress has been great in the sense of we don't have that one size fits all model.
Good.
A lot of the things that are coming out now are very community focused, what they call disruptive innovation.
Yeah.
Thing that I'm so excited about. And we unveiled our End HIV 901 plan in accordance with the Ending the HIV Epidemic Initiative. But I wanted to ask you, there's the goal, right, of ending the HIV epidemic by 2030. Do you believe that we can reach that goal of decreasing new transmissions by 90% before 2030?
Oh God. Yes and no. I think on a grand scale, could we do it? Yes. Will we do it? No. So I think we could do it if, again, organizations continue to do that disruptive care, the disruptive intervention. But also they need to be doing the work of breaking into spaces that they're not always in. I know from just the various cities that I visited, from the cities that I've, lived in, oftentimes when we talk about testing and we talk about the testing location, so this was pre-COVID, when we talk about, doing our testing ban, how often do you see a testing ban at the club, right? Let's say you see the testing ban at the club 3 times a week. Well, the club, I mean, how many people of color are at the club? The club is not the black club. It's not the underground club. It's not the Mexican club. It's the normal club that everybody goes to. Well,
mostly.
Not everybody's going to that club. I mean, your DL boys are not going to that club. And they're not coming to hip hop night because it's known as the gay club. Well, that's cute. It's the gay club. But your DL boys are not going there. They're going to the underground sex parties. They're going to these places that they can remain anonymous. They're going to these places that they can remain DL because everybody there knows that, they're just black folk, right? So that's why I say my answer of, can we do it? Yes. As long as we do the work, such as getting into these black clubs that we're not often at. In Orlando, they were at literally the white boy club. Up here in Grand Rapids, they're not putting the testing units in the ghetto. They're just not. The testing vans are not in the ghetto. They're not in the middle of the ghetto, in the middle of the day where people need to be tested because they're not working on a Wednesday because they work all weekend. You know what I mean? We're not in those spaces. So can we do it? Yes, as long as we do the work such as that. And that's why I say, will we do it? I don't think so. because we're not doing that work yet.
We're not.
And that's what
this
we're
is
doing.
critical.
Yeah.
It's a critical conversation, because what happens is just what you said, is are we reaching the populations and the communities that are really, I don't too much care for the word at risk, but that's what we use in the field. And
But I mean, there's nothing else to use. Like,
yeah, and I can't come up with another word.
but no, like, are we really reaching those communities like that need the services? Like,
the necessary, we're not reaching those necessary communities.
yeah.
So, and that's what I really mean when I say tapping into thinking outside of the box, because we named priority populations in the plan, but it was so important for people to understand and envelop themselves in what was actually written into these things, because I can't speak for too many people, but I know our plan is good. But I want other people in Memphis to really understand that there is something that is out here that people can really look, not as a roadmap, it's
Yep.
more of a catalyst to really get you to think.
Absolutely. And every city is going to be a little bit different. You know, what I would really push, so if any organization or if anybody watching this has any pull within their organization or just wants to do their own projects, right? My big push to everybody that wants to do HIV prevention work is take a look at those plans, right? Take a look at those targeted populations and ask your EDs, hey, what are we actually doing to be in those populations? What are we actually doing, right? Not, I mean, it's great that they're on the plan. It's great that, you know, that's our target market. But what are we actually doing to be there? Are we actually showing up on, you know, Martin Luther King Street at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because mamas and daddies and theos and theas like don't have work on a Wednesday? Like, are we actually showing up there? Or are we showing up at 9 o'clock at night again at the same club that we've been at for the last 6 months? Like, what are we actually doing?
I love that, because what happens is there are so many missions and views that people put out there, and it's like, do you remember your mission? So don't forget why you even started this.
Boom. Boom.
One very, very, very interesting community that we're starting to hear more respect for, is not all the way, but more respect for, is the community of sex workers and even content creators. You've been vocal about sex work, and it's really intriguing to hear conversations amongst the traditional HIV service providers when they find out that they know a sex worker. Or so, in your opinion, is there a difference between the two? And if so, what is that difference?
So is there a difference between which two?
I'm sorry, sex worker and content creator.
So this is an argument that has spans within the sex worker community. So in my opinion, there is a difference, right? So you have full service sex workers, which I identify as a full service sex worker. I am an individual that has seen people in person, engages with individuals one-on-one, not just virtually. Content creators are still sex workers, right? Sex workers is this umbrella. Content creators have the safety and almost the anonymity. I can't say that word. The anonymity. That word right there. They have that to remain a little bit safer because they're able to be behind the camera. So if they don't want to show their face, they don't necessarily have to. If they don't want to engage with individuals in person, they don't have to. And that's not where their money is coming from. That's not where their funding is coming from. Their funding is coming from strict content creation on sites such as Just for Fans, you know, Pornhub, et cetera.
Gotcha. I love that, the umbrella term, because because I believe in life as a spectrum.
Yeah.
And I do believe that there are many, many myths to be dispelled about sex workers and
absolutely
creators. So, are there any myths that come to the top of your head that you may want to debunk?
I mean, besides the one that I just did of, they're the same thing. So content creators and, full service workers, they're still, both of those are still sex workers, right? They're both under this umbrella of being sex workers. And again, the only thing that really separates them is that safety.
That physicality.
It's that physicality. The biggest myth that I continuously run into, and this has made it hard for me to engage in like personal relationships or romantic relationships. I've been asked often, so what do I get out of this? Not from clients, but from somebody I might be talking to on a romantic sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
They find out that I'm an escort, and they're like, so what do I get? And I'm like, well, you get me. You get the real me. So I know a lot of full service sex workers that they create this character when it comes to their client. I don't show up as my full Roman Blck, like, here's all of me all of the time for every client. No, when I show up for clients, it's this character that I sort of created where they get bits and pieces of me. And anybody that I'm talking to romantically is going to get all of me, right? They're going to get my ability, they're going to get my emotion, they're going to get me on sad days, on bad days, on good days, on happy days, where a client is only going to get me good. They will only see the good, positive side of me because that's what they're paying for. They're not paying for me to be sad, right? The other thing that I'd love to debunk is just because I'm full service does not mean I'm full sex. Full service does not equate to sexual intercourse. I'm often, and I'm majority of the time, paid for just showing up to share my time. I've had clients literally pay me for a full overnight just to sit there and talk to them. I mean, yes, we don't have our clothes on, but we didn't have any sex. We literally sat in their bed, talked for 12 hours, and that's it. Oftentimes, clients just need somebody to talk to, and they need somebody to listen. They're oftentimes clients, they're not necessarily paying for sex. They're not paying to get off. They're paying for companionship. They're paying for somebody to just listen to them.
And one word that is thrown around quite often is intimacy. And so for a lot of people, intimacy means just personal interaction.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that there's any type of sexual activity involved, any of that. So you definitely got it. When one of the biggest things that I have heard is like sex workers and content creators don't make good partners. And what I have had to equate my own version of sex work and content creation based upon is you see me as this public persona, whether it's my HIV work or podcast, that image, as you said, gets the good. That image gets a piece of me. And you as my partner, you receive the whole me. So
everything else.
Ways to create an image or a brand, let me say a brand without saying that you get those intimate moments. So those intimate moments are those things that I keep for you as my partner.
No, absolutely. Personally, I think I make a better partner because I've been able to come to this point in life where I'm recognizing and I continuously see myself. And I'm vocal about myself, right? I'm vocal about my struggles and my demons, but also I'm vocal about my good side and the things that are going well in life. And that's a hard place to come to. Like that's a really hard journey to take for an individual. Oftentimes people they will blame others for their misfortune, or they'll blame others for their own trauma. And again, I think I make a better partner because I've been able to recognize those things and,
Mhm.
and compartmentalize them just a little bit, right? And be
Mhm.
able to figure out when to show those things.
Mhm.
And because I don't show those to my clients, because I save those for my intimate partners or for my closest friends, it for me, again, it makes me a better partner because I'm able to share that with you for my partner, because I'm able to save that and share those moments for you.
Yes, I think that is so. It's very relatable for me because I do believe in that piece of the intimacy. But during my time in Atlanta, it was fine, honey.
It- yes.
I'm more of the anonymous type, so no face, no case. I didn't do much posting on OnlyFans or just for fans. I was like a who did I Ty Dolla Sign. You know, I did my best work as a feature instead of on my own.
Fair enough.
And I didn't feel like putting much energy into the promotion. So my hustle was to get my portion off the top from the jump.
Boop.
It was more so about hitting those big names because once they saw one video, it was kind of
Yep.
like, oh, well,
And it just continues on.
it
Absolutely.
continues on. So now I know that you actively promote like your content, and people don't believe that it is a legitimate source of income that takes work. Says you've been doing it for what, about 2 years, right?
I've been doing so. So I've been doing sex work since I was about 18.
Okay.
I've been escorting full time since for about 2 years, and I've been
Okay.
creating content for about the same amount of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some of your specialties. So one thing that I'm very interested in, I had a former, what do you call it, professor, or I
Okay.
don't use the word master because I sometimes would like to be a master, and he couldn't wrap his mind around. I wanted to really dive into both sides of it,
Okay.
and that just didn't work out. So I didn't get a chance to learn as much. So maybe if you could define like things like not too much in depth, but like pup and some of
Yeah.
the things you may specialize in.
Yeah. So for me, for me, I would say some of my specialties. So I am what you would call a submissive. I'm a bratty submissive person. So what that
I
means,
heard about the word brat tonight. Like literally, that's so funny you said that because
I love being a brat.
only my
So,
second time hearing it.
oh, girl. So what that means, just a little bit in depth. So I am the kind of submissive where, let's say I have a dom who books me for the night, right? So they will say, "Get me my coffee," and I might have some lip service back. I'm like, "I'm not going to get you your coffee," while I'm getting out of bed and getting them their coffee, right? So that's what a bratty submissive is. So I'm going to get you your coffee, but I'm going to talk shit the whole time I'm getting your coffee. That's what a bratty submissive is. I also have been introducing pup play. So pup play is more of a headspace where you capture this more animalistic side of you. For me, pup is more used within the club world. Because I feel a little bit uncomfortable just being out in the club, just because of my own interactions with queer men and them feeling that they can touch me whenever and wherever they'd like to. Um, Pup for me is a headspace where I'm able to be out and about and dance and not really have a care in the world. Where I can close my eyes for a minute, my mask is on, and I just lose all senses. And that's what a lot of pup play is. You really go into this headspace of you are a puppy. And it's not that you're necessarily having sex with actual dogs, but you are in this headspace of you are a puppy. You are encapturing this freedom and this free lifestyle of just I'm gonna wag my tail and sniff some butt and call it a day.
Shout out to my favorite pup.
Who's your pup?
Well, he's not my pup, but he's my favorite pup.
And then I would say that my last specialty is impact play. So impact play is the one that gets the most hate, if you will. It's one that's most misunderstood.
Okay.
So impact play is hitting. So it captures spanking, it captures punishment play, it captures any body hit, stuff like that. For myself, I really love, again, because I'm a bratty sub, I'm often the one that's being hit. I really love the idea of like being like punched in the body, and I've been like tied up on an Andrew's cross, and I've had people like, you know, punch me in the ribs and in the chest and in the back. And there's something that's so, I can't even like put the words to it. There's something that's just so euphoric about that. It's like this moment of like releasing all of this tension, that it's just it's euphoric to me.
And I think that it really, because a lot of folks I've heard about impact play, and just like you said, a lot of people are so stigmatic against it. But for me, I wrote an article called "Get Your Nut Right." People were so thrown off by it, but for me, it's like whatever it takes to make you feel your orgasm, your nut, whatever you call it, you should dive into some things to just try and see.
Yep.
You never know what you can find.
Yep. And there's different kinds of getting your nut. And that's why I often talk about, you know, providing people options for their sexual health toolkit. Like, again, that's why for me, non-penetration is within my sexual health toolkit. Because it's not always about getting off in the way we think about it, or in the way that men are often told and taught and shown to feel it. It doesn't always come out of your dick.
Right.
Like for me, when I engage in impact play, my dick, I never even touch it. Not once. And neither do people that I'm with. We are actually getting off from the engagement of just releasing the tension through hitting, and through like whips and chains, and, you know, the Rihanna song S&M. But like that's how we are getting our nut. Like it's literally this moment of releasing that tension, and that for us is our orgasm in that moment. So I just encourage individuals to really think about what an orgasm is, and to expand our thinking about how we think about orgasms. Orgasms are not just physical. Orgasms are mental. Orgasms are emotional. Orgasms are energy. Orgasms are community.
Right. And the pleasure, like
yes,
that I appreciate more than that climax.
Yep.
So for me, it's way more than just those things that may include like your normal oral fixation or your creative activities.
Yep.
There's just so much more to it.
There's so much more.
That's another box that I want to explore. Okay. What I have come to find out is that I've been boxed in as that sex. And yes, I talk a lot about sex, but there is more that I can talk about. I don't like to be placed in any box because I really do consider myself like multidimensional. I write, I'm a part-time stylist, I love acting, and I'm trying to be a real wine connoisseur. I'm a fragrance enthusiast too. And I just do a lot of other shit, right?
But we all are.
What are some of the other things about Roman that can we call them things, or friends, or that people may not know about you?
So I'm a writer. I'm a poet. I am on a journey with my own addiction. I love tattoos. Love getting tattoos. I love tacos.
And you also have like over 50 playlists on Spotify, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, do I at this point? I don't even know. So I love music, and I love all music. I have everything on my music list from Andrea Bocelli to Garth Brooks, from Lil Nas X to, I mean, who is somebody I would just listen to, the whole underground R&B list that I was just listening to on Spotify.
The first person on your list, I could not remember his name, but you had me listening to it last night, and I was just in my room grooving like
yes. Oh, I've been real big into like this grooving kind of music, like just like chill. Like there's a song that I've been listening to over and over. It's called "Quarantined with You," and it's so dope. And it's like love song, but like not a love song. I'll send it to you. It's so dope though. Spotify are like this.
We have a question. I feel like those girls that be reading online. At what point or experience did you go through when you were 18 that made you decide sex work is for you?
So thank you so much for that question. And it wasn't, or I didn't. So to just give a quick and skinny version, 18 till about, honestly, until about 2 years ago. So I'm 28 now. So 18 till about 26. Often sex work was more based in survival. I needed to do it in order to eat, in order to pay rent, in order to do something. It was often based in I needed to survive. And there was a moment where I started creating content, actually. And I never thought I would like say this out loud or publicly, but Just for Fans. So I am a big advocate for the site Just for Fans, and I'm an exclusive model on there. But when I first started to create content on there, it really started to bring up this confidence within me of, oh, like I am pretty, because I would see myself on camera and I was like, oh, I am cute. Like, tell me, mom. And it was within that moment, within the first 6 months of me really starting to do it, that was the point that made me decide that sex work is for me. I enjoyed the company and being able to create the situation and the companionship with individuals that I was engaging with. Because again, I had found this confidence within myself by creating content. So to answer your question, there was no point or experience prior to me being 26 that made me decide. It was afterward. It was once I had found me, once I found my voice, that made me decide that sex work is for me.
And I keep getting questions on email, every messenger. Well, first, let me say, my value as someone who in mine was a little different. I didn't have to go through the feeling of I had to do it, so I don't know that journey. Mine was more so, well, don't let me lie, there was a piece of time. I wasn't always blessed with a salary. So there was a piece of time where it did depend on it. But majority of the time was more so because I wanted to do it. And I still value myself. People have this weird perspective that value is sex depending, that my value of sex is dependent upon my value as a human being. So tell me, your values that you may have in life, did you have to come to a place where you overcame them or had to?
No, yeah.
Okay.
For me, and maybe boundaries and values are a little bit different for everybody. I know for me that, again, prior to me choosing and prior to me really honoring my boundaries, I didn't have any. So I would essentially sleep with and engage with anybody that would give me $50, $20, give me a ride here, give me a ride there, right? And I didn't draw those boundaries. And for me, that devalued myself. Like, I used those moments as a devaluation for myself, because I didn't have any of those boundaries where I was like, I'm not going to do this. And so now, as I've again chosen this career field of being an escort, of choosing to be a sex worker, I've created boundaries where I'm like, I will not get out of bed for X amount of dollars. I will not engage with anybody that is, so I won't have sex with anybody that is also talking to one of my friends.
Okay.
Right? I won't shit where I eat. Like, I won't hook up with coworkers, right? So like those are all moments that I had to really come to in terms of my own value. But in terms of sex. Now, like, some other boundaries I have, right? Like, I don't really care the food that I eat. Like, I will eat anything. But again, putting it back in sex, like, I will not sleep with you just because you bought my dinner.
Okay.
Any longer. Now, you were to ask me at 22? Absolutely. But now, no. I will not allow an individual to come up to me and speak to me or touch me in any way that they feel is appropriate.
Okay.
Which has happened to me, which is like one of the reasons I don't go to the club anymore. I've had people come up to me and just put their finger in my butt. And I'm like, that's not appropriate. And prior to COVID, honestly, I didn't really know how to deal with it. So just walk away. And now at this point, one, I kind of separate myself just from going to the club. But two, if that were to happen to me now, I would turn around and be like, who do you think you are? What do you think you're doing? And do you know me? Like, you don't know anything about me. So those are the values that I really had to come to within myself. Like,
that's why I keep this.
Boop. Just
you never know what's up in this thing, because I, just like you, I have done so many things beyond what people call values. And just like I said, values is a spectrum. So what you value to a higher level is something that may be different to someone else who may not even value that thing. So there were some many, what do they call, dishonorable moments, but not even a month ago, I really had to check someone. And like I said, light is great, but when you devalue my boundaries as a person, I take that as an assault. Because I have been in intimate partner violent relationships, all of these things. You have assaulted me when you come into my face. This man pulled my jock strap at the club, and I literally wanted to strangle him because, like, you don't understand why I'm upset. You're asking me why I'm offended. There are so many things.
Yeah. And at that point, I don't give an answer.
Don't get that.
Yeah. And at that point, I don't give an answer. Like, one of the other things that you brought up, like, I've created a boundary now too, where, you know, if you're asking me why I'm upset, I will give you the answer. And if you continue to argue with me or say something or try to continuously ask why, you don't get an answer. I'm going to walk away. If you ask me, you know, why does this bother you? And I give you an answer and you don't accept the answer, I'm gonna walk away. It's no longer my job to teach you or to make you understand how I'm feeling. It's my job to feel it. It's my job to express it. And then it's your job to either accept it or to not. But it's no longer my job or my duty or any of those other things. It's no longer your right to demand an answer from me. I'm gonna express it. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna walk away. But I had to come to that point.
There's a place of growth. So, Roman, you have been such a delight. Like, I could not even believe to imagine how great this episode would be. Where can people find you, book you, subscribe, all of that?
So I will send you all my info as well, so it can just be in writing. But you can find me on Twitter, at Roman_Blck, on Just for Fans. Also same name, at Roman_Blck. I'm on Facebook now as Roman.Blck. And it's Black BLCK, y'all. I leave the A out on purpose. It is spelled correctly. Please don't add in the A, because I got enough A for everybody else. Okay. No, I spelled it that way just very purposely. You know, as an Aquarius, I wanted to just be a little bit different. but I spell it that way because I want to. I spell it that way because that's my boundary, that's my value, and that's something that needs to be respected. So that's how you can find me. I will send you my email as well. So if anybody wants to partner with me on any projects coming up in the future, I'm always looking for new collaborations, not just for video work, but for any advocacy work, specifically advocacy work involving people of color and the access to mental health care, and to holistic health care. Um, Avenues for Black and Indigenous people of color for addiction and their struggle with addiction, um, and Black people of color, Indigenous sex workers. So, and those living with HIV. Um, I'm with it. Let's collaborate on some projects. I'm a project manager at heart. So let's do it. I'm not just a hoe. I mean, I am a hoe, but
Me too. So- that's besides the point. Do you have any final words for the viewers tonight?
I don't actually. I think I said everything. I mean, the only thing I have left to say is speak your piece, say what you want, say what you will. But honestly, say it from a place of you. Say it from a place of being yourself. Don't be afraid of being the outcast, because if you're ever outcasted from your community or outcasted from your friends, you got a friend and you got a community in me. Um, and I'm here for you. So never, ever, ever think you're alone. I'm right here. I'm a great listener. And so if you ever got to say something and you think it's going to go against the grain and you're going to be ostracized, baby, come find me because I'm right here. Like, I'll be your best friend.
I love it. And I want to thank you again for coming. You have really opened my eyes, my heart, and gave me more inspiration. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
No,
you.
thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You have a great night, Roman.
You too. I will talk to you very soon.
Ciao. And let me thank all of you that tuned in tonight. I don't have any final words for y'all tonight either, but I do want y'all to check out the End HIV 901 plan. So yesterday we had a press conference announcing the plan to end the HIV epidemic in Memphis and Shelby County. I'll be sharing more of the news coverage that was shared, so be on the lookout. To find the plan, visit endhiv901.org. And don't forget to follow the social media movements, End HIV 901, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you like to be a guest, suggest a guest, or want to discuss a certain topic, don't forget that you can email me at igobyeddie@gmail.com, or you can send me a message. Don't forget to stream Karen Brown single With You and K by Kelly Rowland is on all streaming platforms as well. I absolutely enjoyed tonight's episode, and I hope you did too. Ciao, y'all. Bye.